Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond, a safe place where both women and men can come and listen to real people talk about their breast cancer experience and the effects that follow well into survivorship. Hosted by Carrie Madrid, a Stage III breast cancer survivor and founder of the CARE Project. It's time to Handle with Care.
Hey, we're back with another episode of Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. My name is Chris Donovan, the co-host and producer here with Carrie Madrid of the Care Project Inc.org. Today, Carrie chats with Paul and Roxann, a married couple that were diagnosed with 2 different forms of cancer 8 days apart from each other. Roxann has a very rare Phyllodes tumor of the breast, and Paul is diagnosed with Stage III Rectal Cancer. They talk about handling cancer kind of a teeter-totter type way. You'll have to listen to figure out what that means. So go to the careprojectinc.org to check out the Handle with Care book and other episodes of this podcast. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And now, the conversation with Carrie, Paul, and Roxann. Enjoy.
Let's get started.
All right, we're ready.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. So today I have a very special episode of Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. It's going to be one of those episodes that actually incorporates breast cancer and another cancer. So I have a husband-wife team here, Roxann and Paul. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me, guys. We also have in the studio my dog who's attacking Paul right now.
Hi.
Aye. Poor Fozzie. Fozzie, do you need a mic?
It can sense something.
Something. So he's just going to be in your lap in a minute. Anyway, so I met Roxann here at the CARE Project, my nonprofit, when somebody brought you in to visit a social, right? Isn't that how we met?
I think actually someone on my Instagram, she's from Norco. Oh my goodness, I forgot her name. She posted it on her Instagram, like
something about the CARE Project and our
and tagged me in it, and I got like, okay, and that's
So we have at the CARE Project, we don't have a traditional support group. What we have is a survivor social club. So we get together like once a month, and we just sort of hang out and just sit around and shoot the you know what and support one another. We hang out. It's basically a very relaxed, non-formatted, no agenda, let it all hang loose. It's a place where patients can come and survivors and even those well into survivorship, years in, come just to sort of be around others who've been there, done that, and they don't always have to just stay positive, and they get to just be themselves in that moment. So you came in, you actually came with Griselda the first time, no?
Yes, I did actually. And the first time we both went, we had already been to 2 different survivor groups, which they were good, but I personally was looking for the right fit for myself, somewhere where I could feel like home. And I asked Griselda to go with me, and she kindly did. And both of us, when we left that night, we got to the car, we were like giddy little girls, like, oh my gosh, this is the best place ever. We just both felt at home. It was fantastic. So amazing. I loved it. It was, like you said, not traditional. I personally don't feel comfortable going into group and hashing out every single month.
You don't want to feel like hi, my name is Roxann, and I'm a breast cancer survivor, and retell your story every time.
I don't mind, but it's like that seems to be a routine in a lot of the groups, and it wasn't that way for us.
We're very undisciplined and unregimented, informal. Yeah, I like to just have this kind of like this podcast, right? It's just a conversation,
right?
And we kind of let it organically go where it needs to go, and whoever needs extra support or resources. I mean, once in a while we had a specific topic that we needed to talk about because maybe we lost somebody in our group and we were all reeling from it, right? And we needed to talk about it.
And yeah, you're right. There were times that we cried and we laughed together. Yeah, for sure.
We cussed a lot.
Yes, we did. Did you ever write your book? The book that
What Not to Say?
What Not to Say.
Well, I have a whole series here on Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. That's called Whining with Care, where we have a group of patients, survivors, thrivers, metastatic badasses come in and we talk about all the stupid stuff people say to us, and we tackle that topic that's in our book. We actually do have the book written by Margaret Lesh and myself with 10 other survivors, where we give our perspectives, and one of the chapters in there, my favorite chapter, is what not to say.
Yes.
Like, oh, my sister's cousin's brother's aunt had this and she lived and then she died. Like, okay, that's helpful. How?
Or I got implants too because I wanted them.
Yeah, I got a free boob job. No, you didn't. Anyways, yes. So that's kind of how we met. And then you shared some of your story that night, just a tiny snippet to give us some background on you, about how not only were you diagnosed with a very, very rare tumor called Phyllodes, right?
Right.
Phyllodes tumor, which, you've educated me. And then, of course, my chemo brain, I forget. So I looked it up again, and it talks about how it actually makes up less than 1% of all breast cancer tumors.
Correct.
They typically are leaf-like, which I found was interesting, and that they don't usually spread outside of the breast. So that's one good thing.
Right.
The bad thing is they grow fast.
Very fast. Mine grew quite quickly, actually, within the short period of time that I found it.
Yeah, so let's go to that because I don't want to spend too much time on it because I want to get to Paul and then your collective story. But tell us, one, what are the symptoms and signs? How did you find yours?
I know this is going to sound really bizarre, but I took a shower one day and honestly, it was like it just appeared there. It was really huge.
It was a big lump?
A very big lump.
Okay.
And I don't know what came over me, but I decided to grab it and shift it to see how hard it was and if it would move, and it didn't. And I had this weird feeling, and I was like, oh, this isn't good anyways. So that's how I found it. And I knew immediately because my daughter had a mastectomy prior to me. And I knew immediately, you know what, I can't play with this. I got to get it checked. And I made an appointment immediately.
Yeah, that was one of the characteristics I read online on, I think it was cancer.org. But no, it wasn't ACS. It was another site. The breast cancer. Oh, hell. I'll find it. But I'm going to put a link in the show notes so that people can do their own research and learn about it. But that is one of the characteristics. It said a smooth, hard lump.
Yes.
Like stationary, doesn't move.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found that, and then I made an appointment really quickly. I went to to Kaiser, and they ended up actually doing an ultrasound, or the mammogram, and it didn't show anything. And so they ended up doing an ultrasound, and they said they diagnosed me with, I think, fibroadenomia. Is that?
I've never heard of that.
Which is the sister of phyllodes, but it's a benign tumor. So they came in there and told me that that's what they thought it was, and I'm relieved because they're telling me it's benign, everything's okay. But then shortly after, probably 20 minutes later, they said, you know what, we're not going to chance it because it is a sister of another tumor that could be cancerous. We're going to actually have you have an MRI biopsy, which I had no clue what that was.
Yeah.
And that actually was a whole nother.
But you know what? I'm so glad that they did that.
Me too.
Because how many times have you and I both heard stories, right, where somebody finds something and they kind of dismiss it and go, oh, no, it looks like it's okay. But then had they just taken that extra step? And the patient, oftentimes, patients don't feel settled with that. But instead of speaking up and saying, you know what, can you just do a biopsy anyway? We all, I include myself, just kind of go, okay, we'll watch it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good thing that they decided to do that. How soon after your biopsy did you get results?
So that was actually June. And so August is when I had my surgery. So I want to say, you know what, it was actually pretty quick. I want to say June. That was June, so probably mid-July is when we found out exactly, okay, this is what it is. So maybe not that quick.
What was your immediate response?
Well, to be honest with you, I was very scared because I didn't even know what that word was. I hadn't even heard of that,
Yeah.
you know? And then to find out that it's extremely rare and that I've had patients that had it, but they're only benign. And then to find out that it isn't categorized as stages 1, 2, 3. It's categorized as benign, border, or malignant.
Malignant. Yeah. I just read that today.
And I didn't know what staging I was. I knew I wasn't benign.
Yeah.
So I hadn't
Well,
known
with these tumors, you're either cancerous or you're not cancerous. On the rare occasion, you can be borderline.
And borderline has characteristics, and that's what I was.
Yeah.
And actually, Kaiser was really super good. They reached out to a guru at Harvard that sees this cancer a lot.
More often than they do. Yeah.
And so they asked for help from them.
Good.
And that's where I was diagnosed as border, which at the time I was still scared because border is characteristics of malignant, but not enough to diagnose you malignant.
Malignant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that time, my doctors are like, do you want to do and this is another interesting thing. I'm asked if I want to do chemo or radiation because Phyllodes actually doesn't react to chemo and radiation. It's not known to make your life prolonged or cure.
So basically, the best thing to do is remove it.
Yes, the best thing is wide margins. And that was the first thing. I actually just had a lumpectomy. And then it came back that it could have been invading my chest walls and that it was best to have a bilateral mastectomy. Thank God when I woke up, they said it did not invade my chest walls.
Okay. So just to be clear, when they said you do have this phyllodes, how do you say it?
Phyllodes. We call it PT.
I don't know why I can't say that. Phyllodes tumor. Did they say this is a form of breast cancer, or did they just say you have this tumor?
No, actually, and I want to make this really clear that I have been really happy at Kaiser. And
yeah, because we're not going to dog anybody out.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. But keep it real.
No. But however, there are some people that are not, educated with this specific disease.
Well, it's very, very rare.
So at first, you want to know, I was really sad I didn't have anyone to turn to, actually. I didn't get a cancer coordinator here.
Yeah.
But I ended up asking, can I get a second opinion, which everybody should do that if you're feeling uneasy, right? It's
Absolutely.
not going to hurt. So when I did get my second opinion, I ended up in Ontario, and that's when they said, listen, you're borderline. We don't know exactly till we go and do your mastectomy and all of those pathology reports come back. Yeah. You're getting a cancer care coordinator. We're going to treat you just like we did anybody else that had cancer. Yeah. And that's where I started to feel a little more at ease because I didn't have anyone. And there's my cancer coordinator in there Googling with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, they don't know what they don't know. And the fact that they said that, we've got to get you elsewhere and get this information, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. So how did you react emotionally? Were you just in shock? Yeah. Were you like, oh my God, I'm going to die? Like, what was your thoughts? Or did you instantly have a peace? Like, okay, I got this. I mean, and I'm asking that seriously because everybody that I've talked to on this show, and myself included, there's no right or wrong. It just is what it is. For me, I had a complete peace about it. And I don't say that like, yay me. It was uncanny and strange and weird how at ease I was. It's like I just knew, and I've run across others. And then there's some that were like, I was completely like blindsided. And how could this happen to me? I eat healthy. I'm a physical trainer. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a nutritionist. Talked to someone earlier today for another episode that said that in theory, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do. And bam, 33, diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. So how did it hit you?
So this is funny because the quiet guy over here, that's how that all kind of played in. I really didn't hit me at first. Mm-hmm. I was scared because I didn't really know much. And by the time it hit me, this guy is being diagnosed.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
So when I did find out, I was emotional and I was thinking those things. I was like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
I'm actually one that never checked my breast.
Yeah. How old were you when you were diagnosed?
So I'm 53 right now. So 2016.
Mm-hmm. So
Minus about 5 years.
Yeah. We're all
You
sitting
guys
here
can do the
looking at
math.
each other like, shit, can we do math? We've been out of math class for
Chris,
us.
edit that and do the math for us.
I used to be real good at math in my brain. Now I got to use my calculator.
Right. So 5 years ago, you hadn't really been doing regular self-breast exams, right?
Even having my daughter have a bilateral mastectomy, I know, shame on me, you know,
Oh,
and
you
that's
know
why I'm
what?
such a big, like,
I know.
person. And that's why I was like, I definitely will come and speak, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was scared. I didn't think I was going to die. I think that I'm just like, I honestly had this mentality, like, I'm going to beat the crap out of this, you know, like whatever it
You
takes.
just went into, you go into fight or flight. You went into fight.
And at that time, I didn't know exactly what treatments I was going to have. I honestly didn't know anything. But
I think that's the initial part is like the hardest when you first hear the words, like you have a cancerous tumor, you have a form of cancer, whatever. Then there's that weird space where you have to get with your doctor and figure out, okay, now what's the game plan, right? And while you're trying to still soak in the fact that you've been diagnosed, now you've got to make these decisions, digest the information, try not to go to Dr. Google, right? And which we all do.
And I was there a lot because there wasn't a lot. In fact, I did have a wonderful doctor at Kaiser that came in and spoke to me and said, let me give you a really good place to go. It was Google Scholar.
Okay.
Don't just Google.
I've never heard of that.
Do it. It's amazing. So all you do is type in Google Scholar and it takes you to like
reputable,
yes,
checked out,
and you're like back in
sites.
college again going,
Oh no, I don't want to go there.
You're like, oh, these are the credible websites.
Yeah.
And it
Okay.
helped me
Well,
out
that's
a
good to
lot.
know.
You know?
So we'll say if you're going to Google something, try Google Scholar, but do not let that be your only form. In fact, we try not to. So, okay, so you get this diagnosis. Then I have a note written down here. Well, your treatment plan was surgery, correct? Or lumpectomy first, you said.
Lumpectomy, then bilateral mastectomy.
Okay. So lumpectomy, they take just the tumor itself, and then they check to make sure the margins of where they cut are clear of cancer. Yours were not wide enough?
No.
So that's why they recommended the bilateral.
And also because if it was invading the chest wall, they needed to get in there to see
get it out of there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you did not have to have chemo or radiation because, like you explained, this particular tumor does not, the statistics don't show that you'd have a higher survival rate by doing so.
And I chose not to do those things because what if it came back and I did radiation? Then I can't do the radiate. What if it comes back and, you know, in the same place or something, then I can't do radiation there. And ultimately my doctor said, I think it's a wise choice not to do it right now.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you felt comfortable with your team because we say that all the time. You have to be comfortable with your team. We don't know it all. We don't even have to understand it all. We have to be able to absorb it, ask questions, and ultimately, personally, I believe once you're comfortable with your team, that's who you rely on. Right?
You have to be comfortable. And let me
You can't be in control of everything.
You can't. And, you know, let me say this too. Just because I'm comfortable with my team doesn't mean that you'll be comfortable with them too.
Absolutely.
You know, search for that right fit because this is serious.
Well, just like with the social club, right? So that's what I was going to say earlier is like, while you came here and you loved the format and the way that it was relaxed and more of a family environment versus a clinical, you know, we're not for everybody. Some people really need that structure and very soft-spoken moderator who can really keep it going, and that's fine. So find what works for you.
Right.
So let's fast forward to a whopping 8 days later. 8 days later.
Nightmare.
8 days later, tell me what happens, Paul.
I went in for a colonoscopy.
Just routine?
Well, I was having some blood in my stool.
Okay.
And so I went in a few different times at doctors. Oh, you know, well, you're about age for a colonoscopy, so let's do a colonoscopy. And then when I wake up from that, well, first the doctor, before I go in, he's all, usually that's just like internal hemorrhoids.
Yeah.
Well, when they woke me up, they're like, we removed a large polyp. So, and then after talking for a bit, I think Roxann asked, is it cancer? And he goes, I think it's like pre-cancer. We're going to call you in 2 weeks with the results. Well, less than 24 hours later, we're getting a phone call as we're having lunch.
Yeah.
The doctor with the results.
But
he got cancer,
When they said it was cancer inside the room from his colonoscopy recovery area, I actually fell back against the wall.
Yeah.
And all I could think of was, and I didn't think this, actually, I verbalized it to the nurse. I said, I just got diagnosed and I'm really not able to absorb this right now, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because when she was going through her stuff, it was a short 7 days before my colonoscopy. But I remember being at work and I couldn't even think straight. I was just like, man, what's wrong with my wife? What's going to happen? And then all of a sudden I get that diagnosis. It was wild.
Well, you guys certainly know how to go big or go home.
Let me just say, he kind of likes to steal my thunder anyways.
Yeah.
Well, listen, folks, if one of us is going to get it, we're both going to get cancer.
Yeah.
So, I didn't even ask you how you were feeling after her diagnosis.
Yeah. It was,
I mean, because I just keep thinking about, I'm going to keep saying Phyllodes until I get it right because it doesn't fly off my tongue. But it's such a rare thing. It's not, it's a form of breast cancer, but getting to a diagnosis of breast cancer is bad enough. But then to get one that really doesn't fit into a box, so to speak. So like you said, there isn't a lot of information just readily available, or people don't go, oh yeah, I had that. Let me tell you right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally different. Have you ever met anyone else with it?
So I put together a brunch just a few days before my mastectomy. Was it and my surgeon actually gave me a website to go, and it's called rarediseases.com. And are you familiar?
No, I've never heard of that. Let me write that down.
Yeah, and so you go on there and you register your rare disease, and a map pulls up, and it's like little shadow lights showing where they are all around the world.
I love that.
Oh, I love it. I'm getting chills talking about it.
Yeah, I'm going to share
So
that.
I found 3 women within California. And I reached out to 3 of them. 2 of them actually came to my brunch. And so 2 of them, one was benign and one was border.
Okay.
And then as time went on, I joined a Facebook, and wow, it became like, okay, here are my people.
It's like me and my one eye that has that crazy keratoconus. I found a Facebook group probably 6 months ago, and it changed my life. I'm like, because nobody gets it. I say I'm blind in one eye, and they go, oh, okay, Kara, my eyesight's bad too. I'm like, no, I'm really blind in one eye. And when you find your people, it's like, it's almost validating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed it. I don't keep in touch with them now.
Yeah.
Just because I kind of let go of some of those, but I needed it at that time to be able to speak with people and that understood me and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's important to mention too, with any support system or support group, whether it's formal or informal like that. Sometimes people come here to the Care Project and they just become like family and they never leave. And that's fantastic. And they become part of the...
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
The mentoring system. And then some people only come in for a time when they really need us at their most vulnerable. And then they kind of like, okay, I got what I need. And they move on. That took some time for me to get used to because you know me. I'm like, I'm all up in your business. I need to know how you're doing. And you can't leave here and tell me you're going to have this and then not give me anything. Like, I just need a text like, I'm okay, thank you. And see you on the other side. Something.
Yeah.
But I've learned to not take it personal. Q-tip, quit taking it personal, and just know that support sometimes is just up for a moment.
I think in the Facebook group, for me, it just got really overwhelming. There's a lot of...
Yeah, they can. Facebook groups can get very overwhelming. Any online support groups.
I built friendships with a few, and then I kind of just was like, okay, reached out. And honestly, the craziest thing, I know you can relate to this, but the few friends that I reached out to that had PT, they have passed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And they passed, they had PT, but they ended up getting another form of cancer during having.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's rough. So then, okay, so now this one over here, Paul gets diagnosed. You fall back on the wall and like, yeah, no, this can't. This is not right. Like, we both can't go through this. What was your reaction, Paul?
I thought, that's it. I'm going to die. I thought because...
That was your immediate response?
Yes, because I put things off, and I knew I had blood in my stool for a while, but every time I go to the doctors, they'd always say something or whatever. Maybe just because you're sick right now, this and that. Mm-hmm. So I go, I waited way too long, and that's what I thought.
Oh, okay.
So at first, initially, I was like, oh, man, this ain't good.
Yeah. So what was the treatment plan?
to do radiation and chemo. I did like a month of Monday through Friday going in for radiation and then doing chemo Monday through Friday, taking the weekends off. That was the first part. And then after, I don't know, another month or so, had the surgery and then more chemo after that, the chemo pills, and then going in for a chemo infusion or whatever. But yeah, and the fine thing is, like, I never like researched anything. I never went to any groups. Me, actually, I wanted to just stay away from everybody. I hated, like, friends would call, it's terrible to say, but I might just want to push them off because I didn't want to retell the story. It was just like exhausting to me. And
we say that all the time on this show, like, oh my God, how many times do I have to retell it?
Yeah, and it was bad, you know, and I wouldn't call people back, whatever, but I might have one close friend that I talked to, and he can kind of relate to people, you know, ex-coworker or coworker or whatever. But, like, she did all the online researching stuff, you know, and
I didn't have to do much, though, because it was nice to have.
Yeah.
He has a protocol, you know?
Mine,
like,
they can just open the book and go, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You know, hers, it was like, oh, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
But I honestly felt like he was going to die, too. I don't know why, but I felt that, I did. I don't know why I did.
Maybe because you were already, like, hypersensitive because you had just been diagnosed. I mean, because think about it. I'm just kind of flashing back to my own diagnosis. While I had a piece about it, I still, looking back now, know that I was in shock for probably the first week. After hearing the words, even though I was in go mode and I was like, okay, what are we doing? We're going here. Okay. Like the day I got my results, I scheduled my mastectomy 10 days later. Like I had a plan and that was my only way of controlling anything. Right. Okay, great. I've got a job to do now. Right. I start filling out the calendar and, you know, going to this and going to that because it becomes your job. But in retrospect, the first week was a freaking blur. So here you are in a blur, and now you're in the hospital because he's going to have this, you know, routine exam. But knowing, you knew he was having some symptoms?
I did, and you want to know what? When they told me they thought it was early stages of cancer, I said to myself, no, it isn't. I just felt it wasn't because he had procrastinated.
Because you knew it had gone on for some time.
I'm a big procrastinator, and I just put things off. But
you're not alone in that. Well, a lot of us do.
Yeah.
For various reasons, and you know, some people are just too busy working, right?
But you know, it's like at one point, when a doctor goes, "Oh, you have internal hemorrhoids," so I'm like, "Okay, maybe it's just internal hemorrhoids," you know?
because that's pretty common, actually.
Yeah. So, but I think one of the big things that I didn't realize till way later is like I would always tell the doctors, "Blood in my stool," meaning it's actually in my stool. It's not like in the toilet, a bunch of blood.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That could be like maybe internal hemorrhoids. Maybe would be a little different. Like there, you know, so it was just like when I'd always tell them it's in the stool, like you can see it in there, but I don't know. The one doctor, needless to say, once I got diagnosed, he wasn't my primary care doctor anymore.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, buddy.
Yeah.
Because I went to him several different times because I wasn't a person that went to the doctors a lot, but when I did, you know, it's like, and Roxanne will get on me too. You go with the list of things. Like, I know,
here's the thing.
Because I don't go to the doctors a lot. So when I go, here's my list.
You're like,
of
I got to get all this out.
I got to get all this
I'm not coming back.
And that was always on the list. Blood in my stool. Okay, a lot of times.
So how long do you think that had been happening before you actually went in? Like a couple months?
No, it was going on for years. I could even say probably 10 years. Not constantly, not like every time.
But off and on.
Yeah. And sometimes you go back and go, oh, wow, there's no blood in there. And you're like happy.
They said it was a slow, very slow growing cancer.
Right. Well, it had to be because in to wait that long. And then you were diagnosed stage 3, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And once I got that diagnosis, stage 3, I started feeling a little better because, like I said, I thought, oh, man, that's it. I'm done.
Right.
I probably got, you know, way beyond stage 3, but no, so...
Isn't that
it was
funny?
Relief.
Isn't that funny, right? I mean, too, stage 3. But it was like relief, like, okay, it's only 3.
Because like we're saying, that could have been going on for 10 years or more. That you possibly, you know, something.
It could have been It could have been elsewhere at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so are you both in treatment at the same time? Well, you had surgery. You didn't have chemo, Roxanne.
Right, but we did make scheduling, you know, him being on chemo and helping me with a bilateral mastectomy was not possible. So we coordinated it, making it, you know, we had to switch things around.
It's crazy how we both had at the same time, but I think it was the best because we both understood each other. We both, our doctors knew what was going on. They were scheduling things like she might have a procedure and, you know, I'd be the one like take care of things. And then I go through something. She, you know, be recovering, but able to help do things or whatever. And so it worked out.
I have a photograph of us. I just recently came across it, and we're in our guest room. He's laying across the bed. You clearly can tell he's chemoed out.
Yeah.
And I'm recovering from my mastectomy.
Yeah. So let's talk about what I'm gonna get a little personal here, and you could say I declined to state. Would you say you had a strong marriage before your cancer diagnosis?
Yeah, we've been through a lot.
Yeah. So did this just make you even that much closer and stronger, or did it cause conflict that maybe you didn't anticipate just from the stress? You know, when you're under stress and you snap at one another and all that, that doesn't mean you're going to break up. But do you think it caused more strain, or did it cause more of a bond between you?
For me, I think personally during cancer, a bond. But after cancer, which no one prepares you for.
Right, the after.
You're on a different path, journey, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
For me, I was in like, just like, we got to get this done. Let's do this. And he was like, oh, you know, during cancer.
Yeah.
And then after cancer, it was like, hey, woo. And I was like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
So I feel like
and we all go through that differently. And I think that it's almost like grief in that there's waves that it comes in, right? Where you want to be celebratory, but then you're cautious. And then you don't want to like jinx it. And then, right? It's Paul's nodding his head right now.
No,
it's audio, Paul. I need you to affirm me. No, it's true though. I think you do. You go in waves, right?
Oh yeah. And then you're always like, oh, is it going to come back? You know, you're always wondering that, you know, oh, I have a pain here. Is that, you know, cancer or something?
See, my listeners, that's not just breast cancer.
Oh, yeah.
That's everyone.
Oh, yeah.
That's everyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's breast cancer, if it's colon cancer, if it's rectal cancer, if it's brain cancer. Once you so-called get rid of it and you have active treatment and then you're no evidence of disease or in remission, it almost never completely goes away. That thought is somewhere always lurking in the back of your mind. Doesn't necessarily rule your life, but it's always there.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you feel like, have you guys ever expressed to a friend maybe who isn't a cancer survivor, like maybe that thought came in your mind and you just talk about it like it's nothing, like we do, because the three of us get it, right? And had someone say, oh, don't say that. That's not going to happen. Have you ever experienced that or not so much?
That's a good question.
No, I mean,
I don't
I've
think
only
so.
said that to a few
good.
people that thinking, you know, you just never know if it's going to come back. It's in your mind sometimes.
You know what? We might have had that question because you know what? Now I'm thinking back right around the time when people started asking how you're doing, we'd always say, we're great in our neighborhood. And one day I was not great.
Yeah.
So I'm sick of telling everyone I'm
I
great.
think we've had this conversation.
Today, someone asked me, I'm going to tell them, don't speak to me because I'm not good today, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that same person said, you know, it's not going to come back. And the fact is, you don't know if it is, and that doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we talk about, like what in the what not to say realm to cancer patients, right? Is like we realize that people mean well and they're trying to find the right something to say or anything to say. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, you're going to be okay. You'll be fine. And what we hear is, wah, 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 wah. And then it angers us. Like, you can't say that to me because you don't know.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, I hope and wish and pray for you the best outcome. But you can't say to me, oh, you'll be okay. You'll be fine because my Aunt Susie had it and she's fine. And it's like, I'm not her. People just don't know. They just don't know. That's why we talk about it. We don't do it to dog people out. We do it so that you are made aware.
Right.
So when you know better, you do better.
Right. Because I think sometimes during that process, we are kind of seeking promises. Like, promise me it's not going to go here or it's going to come back, or promise me when I wake up
We're
from
looking
the
for
surgery.
any guarantees.
Yes, and you can't give that. And when you say
even our doctors can't give us a guarantee. So when you walking down the street, wave at me and say, I'm going to be fine, you're kind of pissing me off.
Yeah, you're going to get the finger. No.
You know, it's funny, like people ask how we're doing. We try to be positive. And we're, you know, obviously I can't say we're doing the greatest because we just gone through all this stuff and we're hurting or whatever, recovering. And we say, you know, we're hanging in there, whatever. How you doing? And then they start, and it's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, if you only knew.
Yeah.
You know? It's
I personally wanted people, like a lot of my family and friends didn't want to call me and say, you know, like shoot the breeze like we used to about bullshit. Like, oh, my
they don't know
husband.
What to say.
Well, I started telling my friends, please, like, be normal with me. I still want to hear how crappy your day was.
Right.
you know, because
and that's up to us. I think that's really up to us. So it's good that if you were able to communicate that, it's up to us to let them know.
Yeah.
This is a random tangent. This is what I do. I was in the Clubhouse app the other day helping moderate a room, talking about, the topic was surviving survivorship, all cancers, right? But specifically in a breast cancer club. And somebody said, so there was a lot of us survivors that are in remission. And then there was a couple people who are stage 4 and in current treatment and will be in treatment for the rest of their natural life. And one of the long-term survivors said, sometimes I feel guilty, like I want to shout from the rooftops, like, yay, I'm still in remission. But then I think about all the people I know that are in treatment and I'm sensitive to that, you know? And so one of the girls stepped up and she said, I just want you to know that as a metastatic patient in treatment for the rest of my life, I am cheering for you. And I do want to hear your victories. And I do. And I just thanked her for that because we need to know that, because we do go through that.
Right.
It's even if it's not a guilt, so to speak, it's like a awkwardness, right? You know that someone has just been given a metastatic diagnosis, but you just reached your, 9-year cancer anniversary or whatever it is, whatever milestone you're celebrating. So I just wanted to share that because I want other people to hear that and know, like, it's okay that most of them are celebrating with us and we're giving them hope.
Yeah, I can so relate to that because during my cancer anniversary, Griselda actually was really ill and in bed.
Right.
And that was the day that I was going over there to care for her. And I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah.
But she had remembered.
Of course
and
she
she
did.
brought it up. Yeah. And she's like, we need to celebrate, and so it made me feel good. I didn't want to bring it up because it was like, tough situation, but it is
now,
true.
you guys had a lot of community support, right? I thought I saw that in the news piece that was done.
Well, you can't always believe what the news says.
That is true. Well, what happened was our daughter started a GoFundMe.
Yes.
I'm blessed. We did, and I did say this on the news. We had they edited it out, but we had honestly like 15, 16, 18-year-old kids donating. Like, I mean, they're $50 that they got for the week,
or not even 50. I mean, it was $5, $10.
Yes.
It was great,
and so it was amazing that happened. So, but
because what's the financial toll?
Yeah.
Well, because my husband Paul was he's the sole provider of our family.
Yeah.
I was blessed. I was home.
Yeah.
And things were going good. The kids were moved out. And when he got diagnosed, at first we were okay because he was still getting unemployment. And then this is a whole nother topic, but the unemployment stopped
after
and
1
we
year.
had no income.
I was not ready to physically at all go back to any type of work after 1 year.
Right.
So I had to go apply for state aid, and everybody's telling me you're not going to get it because you own a home. I said, well, we'll just see. I got to get something.
Yeah.
And they were right. I didn't get much. I got a little bit of food stamps. I mean, I'll tell you that probably was the lowest of my low in life.
But you know what? That's what the system is in place for.
I know. I finally realized that.
For people like us that work, there's no shame in that. That's why we have it.
And at the time I was frustrated. Like, I can't believe I actually have to do this. And I'm going to tell you, I felt like I was begging when I was applying. And I finally just turned and said, they asked me, are you pregnant? And I said, I'm not pregnant, but my husband and I are diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
And this man's worked 30 plus years for the same company.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
Well, that's people, that's social workers, or I should say eligibility workers that are so bitter and jaded from whatever they see every day. We don't know. So, yeah. Well, so you were able to, so financially you managed to get through. Are you back working, Paul?
I had to retire because I tried to go back to do that work and I just physically couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. What did you do before?
I worked for Albertson's warehouse.
Okay.
Yeah. So all the warehouse and stuff, physical. Yes.
Yeah.
Physical work, long days, 6-7 days a week, sometimes long hours. So I just couldn't do it. And I had neuropathy real bad in my feet. I mean, I could.
From the chemo.
Yeah, I could barely stand very long. Luckily, when I did go back to work, my bosses were real cool. I had the seniority where I got a job where I was sitting down on a forklift for the majority of the time. But you got to remember, I had rectal cancer, so sitting all the time.
Sitting for a long time does not sound comfortable.
It's not the greatest thing. So I was going back and forth, maybe doing some stand-up type thing. Your neuropathy's hurting. No, I'm sitting back down. It's just, back and forth like that.
Right.
But I actually had to go back to work to reinstate my insurance. I had to go back for 2 weeks. But before that, we didn't have any insurance. I had to get Cobra, which is very expensive.
Oh, gosh. How do you afford that if you're not working?
Here's the thing, though, that GoFundMe that my daughter started, which was a great thing, the money we got from there ended up making our payments for the Cobra we had to have for about 4 or 5 months, whatever it was. And that was like $1,300 a month, that Cobra.
So see, people, $5 donations, $10 donations. This is what we say at the Care Project all the time.
They all add up.
People, they all add up.
Oh my gosh.
That $10, how many times have you heard me say that, Roxann?
No, I'm so serious.
How many times have we had people come in at a social club and talk about like, oh, I can't really afford it and I don't know if I can come because I'm like, here's a gas card. Here's $20 for your copay. I mean, and that's somebody who, I don't make a lot of money in my regular job, but I always want to feel like I make a difference. And that was the premise in starting the Care Project, was every $10 counts, and it really does.
I'm telling you, this is not even a joke. The simplest thing, like toothpaste.
Yeah, everyday necessities that become luxuries when you're not working full time. That's my quote on the Care Project's website. Everyday necessities.
Yes.
Think about it, people, become luxuries when you're not working full time.
And another thing too is I did and do appreciate those like meals that are dropped off, you know, like casseroles. However, let me tell you how much I cried when there was like a gift card on my you know, front doorstep or in my mailbox to just Walmart or Target, wherever. And I would cry because I'd be like, this wasn't a shopping spree. I literally 3 days ago wasn't sure if we were going to get our essentials.
Right. Laundry detergent, toilet paper, paper towels, Lysol wipe, whatever it is you need.
Me being a union guy, I didn't like Walmarts when they came in, you know.
Right.
So we didn't shop there for years. People, how'd you survive? Well, you just learn how to do it, right? We go to Target, whatever, spend a little more. I don't care.
Right.
But then we got a $500 gift card from Walmart.
And we were at Walmart before.
And I'm like, wow, it was great because, you know, $500 things you need, and it's just.
That's one of the things when people call us and go, you know, we really want to support you. What's the best thing we could do? You know, or like someone's doing a fundraiser and we'll say, you know what, gift cards.
Yes.
We don't even need the cash. We'll take care of our rent here, right? Our board members, whatever. We'll take care of that. But gift cards is one of the greatest things. And we always say Target or Walmart.
Yeah.
Kmart before they closed, because at Walmart and Target, you can get anything.
That's right.
And the younger people are being diagnosed, younger families that still have babies in diapers and formula, and just you can get whatever you need there. We've helped people get school clothes for their kids.
Yeah.
So simply by you know, gift cards.
Yeah.
So how are you doing today? Because we got to wrap, but I'm so thankful that you're here, and maybe we'll do like a part 2 because I'd like to get a little deeper into.
I'm thankful that we're here too. Thank you. I personally feel blessed to be here today. Yeah. When people ask me today how I'm feeling, I'm focused on today, and
That's it.
I'm grateful. I can't complain is what I say, because I know that it could have been worse, and there are people that are worse.
Yeah, we have our daily struggles, but we're here.
Yeah.
You know, so thankful for that.
What would you say is the best advice you could give a man, Paul, about his health in general?
Yeah, well, definitely don't let things go on. And if a doctor tells you something that you don't like, you know, go further with it, question it, second opinion. And I actually did do a second opinion at the time, didn't get anywhere, but still keep trying.
Yeah.
You know, for sure. And I tell people like about the rectal cancer signs that I had, you know, stuff like that, to keep an eye on it, and definitely get your colonoscopy. Don't be afraid of a colonoscopy. The worst thing is drinking that stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
that's what my mom says.
Yeah. When you're going for the colonoscopy, I mean, whatever it is they give you,
that Twilight
propofol
stuff
or whatever. Oh man. Yeah. I'm just like, all right, like, bring it on.
Give me some more.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, my mom had diverticulitis, and so she has to have colonoscopies like, oh gosh, every 6 months. And that's what she said. The worst part is drinking this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have intestinal issues, and it magnetized even worse since all of this. And I do too have to have them once a year, and the drink is the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the worst part of it, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greatest lesson learned, Roxann, from your diagnosis. And what advice would you give to someone who gets PT?
I would definitely say if you were diagnosed with a rare breast cancer, I know there's lots, but something extremely rare, I would say definitely a second opinion. I would say don't be afraid to research. Don't be afraid to be vocal. You have to really be your own advocate during this.
Right.
And
if anyone in our area, actually anywhere, is diagnosed with a Phyllodes tumor and wants to get in touch with Roxann,
Yeah.
call me at the Care
Absolutely.
Project Inc. Just go to thecareprojectinc.org, or you can email us at support@thecareprojectinc.org, and I will put you in touch with Roxann. And if anyone has questions for this couple, just shoot them to me, and I will be in touch with them, and then maybe we'll do a follow-up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
got no
would be
problem.
great.
If anybody had any questions, that I might be able to help.
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys
Thank
for
you
being
so
here.
much.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, guys, take care.
Thank you for listening to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. Please let us know what you think of the show by leaving a rating and review. And don't forget to share it with a friend. For more information or to connect with Carrie, go to thecareprojectinc.org.
Can you have zero interest in something and still really want it? Your wallet would say yes. And with Simply Zero from South Carolina Federal Credit Union, you can transfer credit card balances and get 0% intro APR for 12 months. That's right, no interest all year. So you pay less and keep more. To learn more, visit scfederal.org/simply0. That's scfederal.org/simply0.
Variable APR ranges from 11.74% to 17.99% thereafter. Limited time offer restrictions apply.